In the past, there has been criticism in the area of the timing of he and Meghan's announcements. I think it was in it was for the Earthshot, I think in 2022, when the trailer for Harry and Meghan's, as we know, very explosive Netflix documentary
that felt
dropped.
Different.
Yes, there have been a few instances of this. Matt, do you think these are, and I'm talking about the announcement of the timings, not the work itself, do you think this is a coincidence, or do you think there's a strategy?
Well, it's either deliberately stupid or accidentally clumsy, because you pointed out there that the moment that it was announced, all the British reporting pack were on Sugarloaf Mountain. The embargo had just dropped, been lifted of William arriving in Brazil and getting the keys to the city. He has 72 hours to do whatever he wants. It was great. We were like, this is great copy, great interview with the mayor. Embargo drops. We're all filing our copies, sending our video over, getting all excited about William arriving. And then this drops. And you think, why on earth have you done this? I get the opinion that UK, you had all day to put that statement out. Why did you put it out the minute? It was literally the minute that the embargo got lifted. And I think there's not anxiety, but there's a kind of shrug of the shoulders, I think, with members of the working royal family when they see this kind of thing happening, because there is a history. You point out there, we flew to Boston and they put the Netflix trailer out. I mean, and of course, but one thing that I think we did as reporters, and I think you've done the same back there, is that we didn't make a big deal of it, because then the announcements won. So if it is a deliberate announcement to distract from William's trip, then you don't make a big deal of it. If it was an attempt to sabotage or to torpedo William in Brazil, it didn't really work. And as Sarah pointed out there, Harry's got good authority in this area. He can do what he wants. But I'm highly suspicious that, as I say, why on earth this statement was put out at the exact moment that it was, I thought it was a bit petty and silly, and I don't 100% swallow the justification of why they did it.
Well, it's been a very busy week across the board with the Royals, so we're going to have to stay on Harry for just a moment, because he also popped up for a lengthy new interview with comedian Hasan Minhaj. He was there to talk about the dangers of social media and AI, but given the comedy platform, there were plenty of light and occasionally bizarre moments, like Harry attempting an American accent and being mocked by Hasan over a passage in his memoir about having to shop at TK Maxx, which was actually very funny. Samara, we've talked about this on the show a bit recently. We've just not seen that much from Harry this year. And now he's done a US Comedians podcast. What do you think he and his team are hoping to achieve with this approach?
I mean, apart from being the most boring thing I've ever seen, I mean, that I just could not get into it. I think it's very cheeky of him to sit down with a comedian who's not a real journalist, because it was this sort of setup of, I'm talking to Hasan Minhaj and we're having a good time. I mean, it's clearly his way to try and reconnect with middle America. You can see Harry and Meghan trying to go to the Dodgers games and, trying to lock in with that audience that they so desperately crave, and that sort of left them during some of the more trying times of their careers. They put quite a few feet wrong with their foray into America, in my opinion. So I think this is him saying, I'm the every guy, I'm the fun, boy next door who's also a prince. I mean, I think, yes, he was trying to be relatable, but I don't think that's what the audience actually want from him. I want to see more of the princely stuff. And things that aren't relatable. It's just this weird rebranding, and I really can't get with it. And I think he kind of exposed himself as not that interesting.
I actually thought this was Harry at one of his most articulate and eloquent, because he's talking about the dangers of social media for kids. And actually, he does really know his stuff on this. He and Meghan have founded the Parents Network. And I thought that when he was speaking, he spoke with real authority on this. Yes, this podcast comes from the Lemonada stable, the same group that put out Meghan's Confessions podcast recently. And yes, it is a comedian. And yes, it's meant to be a bit more humorous. And Harry does acknowledge that and says, sorry, I've made it really heavy going. But you can really hear how passionate he is about this subject, the fears he has for his children, the fears he has about the big tech giants and the power they have over us. And actually listening to it, okay, it's not humorous, it's not funny, but it was actually meaningful and worthwhile. what he was saying.
Well, it's certainly, as you say, it's certainly something that he has, it's been his long-time mission with Meghan to raise awareness of the dangers of social media. I think in this interview he said, quote, there are evil, wicked people at the heart of these companies, meaning the social media companies. One thing that stuck with me with that comment, and as you say, he is very passionate about this and has been talking about it for years, but it comes at a time when there's been a significant increase in Meghan's personal Instagram output of the family. Is that a bit tricky to navigate for the couple?
Yeah, because actually he talks about the dangers of posting your children online.
Yes.
What can now be done with AI, for example, and the manipulation of images. We know Meghan obviously took herself off social media when she married into the royal family. She's gone back onto it. And we're seeing more and more of Archie and Lilibet. In fact, you know, the closest we got was with their Halloween video that they put up. So I think that is a delicate balance. What they're now doing is controlling it and putting out what they want to. But I suppose a cynic would say it's part of, you know, Meghan's brand now, and are the children becoming part of that? And of course, we lap it up because we don't see very much.
We do, but I think
children.
she uses those kids so much to advertise as ever. I mean, if you just look at it genuinely from a basis of her posting the children and then her posting a new product on as ever, there is a direct correlation. She uses the fact that we haven't seen much of them to then broadcast them on social media and then promote something. And I don't agree with that. I think it goes against everything that Harry goes on these podcasts and talks about. She's actually the biggest sort of in their life with that sort of thing. She exposes them. No one else is. There aren't paparazzi photos outside the school in Montecito. So I think she's the one who's invading her own children's privacy at this point.
And lastly, it's all a rise, Sir David Beckham. He's finally been knighted. Matt, this has been a long time coming.
Oh, David Beckham, finally. I mean, look, I'm a big football fan, okay? And I have fond memories of David Beckham. Not a Man United fan, but an England fan. I have fond memories of him being obviously, an England football legend. But he has become quite close friends with the King over the last couple of years. I remember at Chelsea Flower Show when they met, and I think we heard that they swapped some presents. I think some presents had come over for David's birthday, and he'd planted some of the Catherine's roses in his garden. I think he'd swapped honey between the King and David had swapped honey. So there's not only the fact that he's a national legend and someone that we all fondly remember from his footballing playing days, but he has managed to become quite good friends with King Charles. So well done, Bex. You know, I'm absolutely happy for him. And I think it was quite fun for the King. I think he quite likes David. I think they kind of have they share a love of the countryside. But let's be honest, David Bex has wanted this knighthood for a long time. He has worked hard to get this knighthood for a long time. But there's a bit of a bromance there an unlikely bromance there between the King and an England legend.
And you could really see it when it was happening during the ceremony. There was the beams on both their faces. It was wonderful to watch.
Do you remember him lining up for hours to see the Queen's coffin?
Yes.
It was like that was when I was like, yes, I know what you're going for here. But also because he's such an Anglophile and he just loves this country.
Ardent royalist.
Yes.
He really is.